Today is the 16th of April 2014. My name is Sherry Wong, and this interview is for the Ming I London Institute, the British Chinese Workforce Heritage Project. Can I begin by asking your name, please?
My name is Yanzi.
And how do you spell that?
It's YANZISHI.
And where were you born?
In China.
When were you born?
67.
Could you tell me a little bit about your family background?
Family background, just what?
What did your mother and father do?
They're all Chinese, but because I don't know what do you want to know about family background.
Perhaps how many brothers and sisters you have, or
my father is they work with the metal. They make a farmer equipment. My mother is work in the farmer as well. We have a big apple, the apple tree, the apple land to grow the apples in China. I have 3 brothers and 3 sisters, so total we'll have 7, brothers sisters.
And where do you fall in that?
I'm the by older. I'm 5th. Yeah.
Okay.
5th. So I have 2 older brother. I have 2 older sister. Yeah.
Big family.
Yeah.
What work? Okay, so yeah, right. What education did you have?
I studied in China. It's not a higher education. It's when I finished. I was 15, and I finished education. I didn't go through anymore because I went to the Shaolin.
So you joined the Shaolin Temple at 15?
Yeah.
Could you tell me more about when you first joined the temple?
When I was 15 years old, and I left my family, and in that time they have, the Shaolin Temple. This film, which is the star is Jet Li. Yeah, in that time. So that's the reason I stopped study. I go to Shaolin Temple to try to learn Kung Fu. So, but in the really beginning is so many people try to enter the Shaolin, in outside, Shaolin Temple outside the gate. So many, it's impossible to go inside. So I saw that, and I just entered the school. Outside they have many martial arts school, and the school to study. In 1 or 2 years later, I got a chance to enter the Shaolin. If we say for a short way, it's like that. But I train quite hard because I want to be good. When you be good, impress people, then you got a chance. So that's why I stay outside the school. I train in 3 months, and every month they just move me to the different level. So I jump the level 3 levels in 3 months. Then after they let me go to the Chinese called a central competition, like free fighting, competitions. So I got a champion. So in that time, it's become legends. Everyone, talk about me. Saying in that time, my family name is called Xu Gui. That's my family name. XUGUI. So that's my family name. But before I enter Shaolin, I don't have my the temple disciple name yet. Yanzi Shi is my disciple name. So my family name is Xu Gui. So in that times, everyone know me because they don't. No one training 3 months. They don't know martial arts. They training 3 months, then they can beat someone training 5 years, 6, 7 years. Even some fighters, they're all the families generation by the martial arts. Their father, their grandfather, all those martial artists, quite famous as well. But they are not champion. I'm the champion. So in that time, so I think that's the quite most important reason. Even I didn't enter the Shaolin yet. Shaolin Temple, a lot of the monks, they know my name as well. So then later I always use the weekend to go to Shaolin Temple to pay my respect, to look at the inside. I want to be inside to feel it, So I got a chance to have some chat with some the monks. So after become friends, so then after they know I introduced my name, they said, "Oh, I knew you quite well." So I said, "How do you know me?" They say, "Yeah, because this story has been spread out all over the Dengfeng city." So then become friends. Ask my favor, say, "I wonder how can I go to the inside the temple?" He said, "You go inside temple, you have a real master. You have to find your master. Then, if your master accept you, then you got a chance to go inside." So then after I've been introduced, I choose my master is now is the Abbot Shi Yong Xin. So he still is the Abbot now. Yeah. So Shi Yong Xin is SHIYONG XING. Yeah. So he's my master. So in 6 months later, so my master accepted me to stay in the temple. So after I have the Shaolin warrior life, or we can say Shaolin guardian life. Guardian basically means you go to the temple, you do a lot of security work, a lot of basic work in there, and clean the temple, look after the temple, and the rest of the time you do the training. In that time, Shaolin is really, it's not like now, because a lot of buildings been burned by, in 1927, I think. So still not being built up yet. So it's very, very basic. So that's why we need a lot of work in there. So now not like now, they're not busy, but there's still a lot of work. A lot of tourists are still there. So we do the training and study and work. Yeah.
So you did most of your training even before you joined the temple, before you were allowed in the schools outside then?
Sorry.
Is that right, that you did most of your training before you and even
No, it's not most. I've been outside. I just stayed probably 1.5 years outside. So after I entered the Shaolin, so I learned some basic. But in outside the school and outside the temple, they still training Shaolin Kung Fu, but they just not really fully of the Shaolin culture. Inside the Shaolin, they have, they have is a Buddhism temple. So then all the important Shaolin culture, especially Buddhism, Taoism, and Confucianism, all that is inside in the temple. And the temple, they practice Chan like a meditation, the philosophy of the Buddhism. So outside, you're mainly learning martial arts, just the Shaolin Kung Fu. Yeah, and all the other spiritual side is really shallow. So they are slightly different. Yeah.
And so all the spiritual side of things that you learned inside the temple, did you bring them over here when you came to the UK?
Yes, that's that's the main things. Shaolin culture involved with spiritual, Buddhism, Confucianism, Taoism. So once I learned all of that, in 15 years ago, I've been to the center by Shaolin Abbot, sent me to London in 1998, February. I still remember the entry day is 8th of February 1998. Yeah. So, but of course, by one Chinese, one community in here, the Tang Liang, he's helped, because he has the one Chinese martial arts school in here, so he helped, So we work with them together. They have some he's quite interested to promote Shaolin culture, so he written a letter to Shaolin Temple Abbot. So then we come here to look if it's possible. Then we set up the center in here. So that's why.
And were you chosen to come over by your master?
Yeah, in that time, my master chosen me, but also it's my choice as well. Of course, if I don't want to come here, then my master will not send me here. In that time, in 1998, I'm quite well known, if not so modest to say, but I have to introduce the stories of my background. In that time, a lot of people know me. I'm the, I can say, it's quite top fighters in Shaolin. And I entered a lot of competitions. In that time, because Shaolin warrior or Shaolin guardian, they're not supposed to go to the outside, to compete with the outside the martial artists people. But I just try to go through. Sometimes I just go by, without telling my master, behind. But after you become champion, then you cannot hide. So yeah, because of that, my master called me to his private room and talked to me quite seriously. Ask me a few questions. They say, the Shaolin warrior not supposed to go outside to compete, to get on the illusion, the names and whatever, become famous and whatever. All this, that's not a use. Supposed to follow to, chase to. So, but they asked, I said, well, what do you think? Why you go there? I said, my master, I learned Shaolin Kung Fu, but I really want to know they're useful or not, because Kung Fu is art of fighting. If we use Bruce Lee, another philosophy, he said, art of fighting without fighting. So that's the Kung Fu. I quite like this word, this sentence text, which is Bruce Lee said. Yeah, because martial art is art of fighting. If you don't know art of fighting, if you don't go to fight to test your martial arts, so you really don't know your level. You really don't know your weak side. I said that I go to the competition is really because the competition is a fair. It's not I go outside to make trouble to fight some people. So I want to test my weak side, and I want to improve my Kung Fu. I think this is the quickest way. I really not care about famous or not. So that's why sometimes I go outside to fight. Even I don't use my name. That's why not many people know my temple name, also even my family name. Because it's two names, or both names I don't use. I use just nickname, however I use. So after that, my master said, okay, if you have the truly in your heart, you will not chase the kind of illusion with outside this kind of the material world, which is I will support you. Hope you don't lose your mission. So and from that, my master never sort of stopped me anything about when I go to outside the fight. So that's why I enter quite a lot of competitions in China. Roughly like at least 7 or 8 times champion in that time. So I think probably because I'm training quite hard, and also my, the ambitions is really strictly, followed my dream, which is when I was young. I learned Kung Fu. I want to be the best. I wanted to committed all my life to do that. I never stopped. Even now, I'm 47. So I never stopped the training. In 3rd of January, 2014, I also entered a professional the Thai boxing fight international in China, in Jinan province, in Shandong province, in Jinan city. They're called Hero Legend, So I fought one quite famous Thai fighters. His coach same as me. Now I'm the coach. He's a coach, and he's 38. I'm 47. So nearly is 9 years different. 9 years. He's 9 years younger than me. But that professional competition is I'm the first time entered. So since training Kung Fu, I entered competition in China by, I say, 1989, and after I don't fight many. So it's like 25 years. I didn't enter the competitions. So this 20 years after I entered, this is the first. But I still test my skill. So yeah, it's still quite luck. So I win the competitions. So yeah, so it's quite interesting.
So do you have a big reputation in the UK as well?
The reputation in UK, I don't know it's a big reputation or not, but I have a lot of students in here, then a lot of people quite like Shaolin Temple. UK, this is a center. We are very friendly. We accept all people, all different people come here. We accept all different martial arts, So we are in here. We're not just Shaolin. We welcome all different styles, even the Thai boxing, the Taekwondo, or different other Tai Chi, different styles. They come here and we do exchange. And so it's like a community center. So
rather than just teaching them about the Shaolin Kung Fu way, you have like exchanging sessions too. Is that right?
Yeah, because they have different teacher in here. We teach Shaolin. They have some different teacher. They hide the hall, use the hall to teach different culture. So yeah, it's quite mixed. It's like a big family. So then people can choose all different martial arts for them. So from the young age to the old age, they all can find things will suitable for them to do something. So I think this is the center supposed to be. You can cover all the ages from the young to the old.
And how young is the youngest?
The youngest like 4 years old, 5 years old. The children they can come here to the exercise.
And the oldest?
Oldest they can have 70s, 80s. They come. Yeah. They have many retired people. They come here. Because we are charity, so people when they're over 60, so we free charge, not charge. We open for them for free. All the disabled people come here for free. So, and all the people they don't have job or they are full-time students, we give them also discount. So it's
and talking about the different types of people, do do you get mainly Chinese people, or is it Westerners as well?
Mainly is Western people. Yeah, no, we Chinese people, they do have their field. I think here, because we're not really close to Chinatown, so so it's not many Chinese people. But we come here, to promote, Shaolin, this classic culture. Of course, we want more Western people to know. So for me, a lot more Western students. I think that's the right sign.
And what about your students? Are they mainly male or female?
They're mixed. They're all mixed. Yeah, they're male, female. Well, more male than female, but still quite a lot. Yeah.
And so, what is the training process for you as a teacher when you teach your students? How does that work?
The training, we go through from the basic, so wherever all the new students, they come here, they're interested in Shaolin culture. So first, most people, they quite like the physical training, but it's not just that, they like a spiritual side as well. Shaolin culture is quite rich. They're not just the physical. They have a spiritual, and especially you see the kung fu movies or the action movies. They promote some kind of spirit, not just the actions. They have the hero spirit. So they have kind of discipline, humble or whatever. But they know when they face to the life and death, what he's supposed to be. Even just scared or whatever to be a bad person or can face to the death in that moment. It's your choice. So a lot of action films, I think they promoted about the Shaolin spirit, or even we can say Chinese spirit. So I can see that, and because when I was young, I watched the Shaolin Temple film. Is that spirit catch me, attract me a lot. So making me, my life journeys go through these directions. So I still strong believe the students come here is because of Shaolin spirit, attract them in him. Because every person, they have a good, pure heart. So that one being attracted, they come here. So our job is to guide him go through and tell him more about the physical and the spiritual, the connections, and you want to be healthy, which is good, but the roots of the healthiness of the body is your mind first, is your heart first. If you think everything is correct, so then you say the things must be correct, and doing things also be correct. So then three all in one. So when you go everywhere, you got a kind of, we say, stillness, called wisdom. So nothing can change you right mind. So that's the main reason, I think, in here. So we teach step by step. First, make him know how to do the basic movement, and after tell him the relationship with the wisdom, with the philosophy side, spiritual side. Then after tell him, the character, learn kung fu, be perseverance and willpower, and also committed. So once you know this way, you can see your kung fu improved. That means you can use this experience to challenge your life. Any difficulties, you need a commitment, you need a willpower, and you need a perseverance to put it in action. So you keep doing that, then the life difficulty for you is not difficult anymore.
And do you ever face any difficulties when training your students?
The difficult thing is the perseverance. This is the hardest things. Because life is so colorful, it's confusion, whatever. A lot of people chase different things, materials, illusions, and so many things. If they they come here. Some people they just for short interesting. Some people is very interesting, but some people they don't know why they come here. Just like it. They don't know the reasons. So you have to be patient, slowly to guide him. You use certain kind of plan, or we say teaching, strategy to let him stay, and after let him understand his ambitions. Some people they don't have ambitions. If you don't teach them correctly, then when they lose interest in, they're gone. They can do something else. So we value any people come here. So we try to teach as best as we can, but still it's hard. The biggest problem is perseverance.
You mentioned that you just keep on encouraging them, but are there any other ways that you deal with this difficulty?
Still is difficulty because I can see people coming and go. Yeah. So in the beginning they're quite interesting. So they're training 1 month, 2 months, 1 year, 2 years, even someone longer training 3 years, 5 years. Then after they dropped, they dropped. So which is I feel shame, but I can't do anything. So I have to, whoever who's coming, so I still be the patient and happy to encourage him, to teach them, same, I have to repeat the same thing, because the action is themselves based off. Our job just to be patient and nice and teach him whoever who's here.
Are you the only teacher here?
We have a few disciples through teach by me. Now they're qualified to teach in here. So because I've been here 15 years, so I have 4 or 5 disciples. He carried the correct knowledge to teach them. So we share the teaching time. So sometimes because I have to go outside to work, do the workshop, or sometimes go to Shaolin.
And how long does it take for them to be qualified as well?
Well, they're training with me like the earliest one, the longest one is training with me even more than 15 years. Yeah, that means because when I was in China in Shaolin, they already studied with me. Some students from the Western, they study with me before I'm here.
I think you mentioned that you do some workshops as well. What other events do you hold here at the Shaolin Temple UK?
We do workshop. Here we say the event. Sometimes we just make a interclub, the culture exchange, make parties, whatever. We invite the different martial arts school come here. They show in what they practiced, so we do exchange.
And going back to your students and the teaching about the Shaolin Kung Fu, could you compare the different ways that the different styles of fighting with perhaps the Western ones or the other ones that you have exchanges with?
Well, basically you say the Shaolin and what different with Western fighting style.
Yeah.
Is that the question? Shaolin fighting style and the Western fighting style, they point to the basic of fight skill. They have some quite similar, but if you point to all the frame of your body and mind, spirit, also for health point, like Chinese have Shaolin, know the acupuncture, meridians, internal, all this herb medicine, all this knowledge for your life, from when you're born until you're old and you're dead. that circle, Shaolin Kung Fu more focus about the health point, full balance, mind, body, spirit. So whoever doing training, they use the Chinese medicine theory to check that kind of training is healthy or not only for fighting. So all the fighting technique, everything is based off of that kind of training is can damage yourself or not. If they can give you health some problem, then use the medicine and whatever, how to look after, how to care, do some kind of treatment together. Like our Chinese have, kung fu special recipes. They have special herbs you can mix with alcohol or whatever. So then they can boiling. So when you're training for certain styles, they tell you to drink this or to use that to rub your body in different area. So all that I think is quite important. And also Shaolin technique, if you go more deep side, but Shaolin is based off Chinese martial arts. The roots is Chinese martial arts. So it's more than 5,000 years, that kind of roots. So they have so many amazing, dangerous technique hidden inside all the forms. But some techniques for the fighting, you go to the ring competitions, you can't use, but some you still can use. Now, for me, I picked quite a lot of traditional technique used for this modern, sports, which is on the ring fighting. It's quite useful. It's quite unique. And not many people do this kind of research and practice.
And so, is that one of the ways you've had to adapt the Shaolin style in a way?
It's not adapt means you say Western and the Chinese Kung Fu. It's not. We can't say it's adapt because the Western they do. For example, in Thai boxing, also they're quite tradition. They have a long, quite probably 500 history about the fighting. And Western they have boxing. They all have some good things to learn. But the good thing is we know Thai boxing the character. We know boxing the character. So then, faced off this quite popular, the fighting sports, and we based off Shaolin culture, Chinese Kung Fu, we try to think how to fight, how to dealing with these two quite good fighting skill. We use Shaolin or use Chinese Kung Fu skill. So we do all this kind of practice and try. We find a lot of Chinese ancient technique which is can against these two styles. This is the one I think development. It's not really something adapted with Western fighting skill, or mixed skill. It's not that way. I think is we find a way, or we can control. For example, boxing skill. We can also work for Thai boxing skill. Because main reason is because we see we can try their skill. Now to understand his technique, then easy we can find a plan to how to sort out.
And so when your students come to the Shaolin Temple, do they ever come with some preconceptions about what they're going to learn or how it's going to happen? Are they ever surprised by?
Sorry, but I misunderstand.
Are your students, when they come here, do they come with preconceptions about what the Shaolin culture is like?
You said did they know or not?
Yeah. Or do they think they know?
Most students, I said it before, most of the people that come here, I think mainly it's two things attract him. One is, kung fu, they have a lot of movement. They are not like boxing, and not like Thai boxing. They have so many different movements. It look like, it's quite interesting. It's not just stay here, stay fighting stance, keep punch, keep kick. They have meditation involved. They have stretching involved. They have qigong, breathing involved. All the meridians involved. So, and also they upper body, lower body, arm training, leg training, footwork training. So spiritual, training. All this. So I quite that kind of question also in my mind are interesting to know. All the new students come here when they're training. I most time ask why you come here, and what make you interesting. Do you know you come here for? What is your ambition? All that. So based off that kind of research, is like I said. One is he like the kung fu that is quite active, that do so many different movements that call all the body balance. Another one is spiritual, the discipline. They're interesting. Even the adults are interesting here to learn, get the discipline. Even the children, the parents and the children come here, they want the discipline. They're not really. Not many children, not many parents say, I want my children become famous martial artists. It's not many. But they do have some, but mostly they come here to learn discipline.
And I'll just ask you about your personal experience here. Could you describe a typical day of working here?
Typical day? Oh, it's a difficult day.
Typical.
Typical, special.
Just your usual day.
You say my daily routine. You say
Mm-hmm.
what I'm doing, and from morning to the evening. You say.
Yeah.
For martial art teacher, or to responsible this Shaolin Temple Educated Center. Mainly, in the morning I get up, I do personal training, self-training. In the daytime, I do a lot of paperwork, write down about the teaching plan, what area I need to improve. So then, in the afternoon from 4:30, the class start. So 4:30 to 6:30 is 2 hours is children class. 6:30 to 10 o'clock to 9:30, is adult class. So we have a feast hall, we have a Chan hall, a Buddha hall, even the vegetarian hall in here, and Shaolin the clinic there. So and then they are busy, different hall and different have different people, come. They come Buddha hall, they do treatment. They come Chan hall, they do exercise. They come to the Buddha hall, or the medicine hall, they do treatment. They come Buddha hall, they learn the spiritual things. So then they have, in the evening, it's quite busy, all different people that come here. So then after I'll have to respond, close the door, and clean all the holes, water the plants. So that's it. I stay alive. Yeah.
And do you face any challenges in your day-to-day work?
For my challenge, I think it's the same as like I said, the students, the perseverance. This is a big challenge. It's big, because Kung Fu, if you don't training, and you never can keep gain, be fresh, and move your skill up to the new level. So for the teacher, the responsibility is always update your skill. Means you keep training, make your skill always is fresh, always in the top, so then you can teach the students, give him all the good knowledge, and make him also perseverance to follow you. If you are lazy, you tell students, you need perseverance. It's not a good example. Yeah, that's why to promote the Shaolin culture, first is you must be the good example. So you always need to be good, or try to be good. Challenge yourself. This is hard, because if you don't, if you're doing all your life, means all your life you need to try to be better person. Then you give people good example, and people will follow you, will trust you. Otherwise, just liar,
And then, what's the best and worst part of this job?
Worse, I think nothing worse. For me, all the challenge is good. Any worst things which the people think, for me, I think is good for me. I will take it. Quite interesting because it's challenged me. So I face to any difficult things, I'm interested to take. Yeah. So I don't think something worse for me.
And over these years of being at the Shaolin Temple here in the UK, has there been any unforgettable experience or event that you'd like to share with us?
Unforgettable. I can't remember. Because the for me all the job I've done in here, this center in 15 years ago here just all the just rubbish, big mess. All this building still temporary, as you see it outside. Is all we built it, mainly me with some kind of students, some volunteers, to help to build it here. If I have to say, what is you said the difficult to forgot the things. I think is all the my students and all the volunteers, who have the heart, join with me to help me together to build up this temple. If I say, because that's my biggest appreciate. Every time I'm not living here, I like to stay here. Most time in my daily time I'm in here. Only because here evening you're not allowed to sleep here. The evening I sleep in outside. But otherwise I will stay here all day. Every time I'm here, I look at the buildings, I look all this improvement. I always remember, the who give the temple bigger support and volunteers, and a lot of students, help here.
That's really nice. And just last question, how do you see the future of the Shaolin Temple in the UK?
The future, because we like to have one permanent, like a center. Here we still is a rent, is by lease. We want to build one Chinese, tradition styles of the Shaolin Temple UK. If in my life got a chance and will. This year we have in 11, 12. I would say in 10 to 15 of October, this 6 days, this week we hold the second European Shaolin Culture Festival in London. So here also have one big opening ceremony. They have Buddha Hall, they have 3 statues of Buddha, the Shaolin Temple Abbot, and also a lot of well-known masters come here, give the how do you call it, bless. So a lot of European students come here to the competitions, and join this cultural festival to see all different Shaolin culture, herbal medicine, Chinese tea ceremony, and Shaolin Temple, the history, and Buddhism, Confucianism, and Taoism, all this philosophy, and books, videos in to the exhibition as well. So we have a lot of souvenirs. So and the Shaolin, they have choreography, Shaolin, the Chinese painting, all this skill, or different arts in here. So I'm sure after that we will have more and more people interested in Shaolin culture. Probably this center is not big enough for them. So we plan to apply, if we can get the land, we can build a really, proud Chinese cultural center in London. So
that would be great. Yeah. So that's all the questions I've got for you. But is there anything else that you'd like to add, to discuss or mention?
The only thing is because in the beginning you told me this is doing the research of Chinese culture in the Western, how effect with with the in the English community in here. That's the research. Yeah. For me personally, I've been here 15 years. I think Chinese culture, always say the Shaolin culture in here, stay 15 years, they do give the London, give to the Shaolin culture in London. They do spread out so successfully, and also they a lot of people have great benefit. I think even government have benefit too as well, because we spread all this positive energy, mind, body, spirit, all the energy is positive, and give the people all this dark and energy is make people they can working, they take their own responsibility. They're working hard, not working lazy. They have a healthy body, so wherever they do work, or children go to study, they have more confidence, more energy, so they can focus, so they can raise up all the result. So for the health side, or the hospital or GP, they have all this kind of financial for that. For the hospital is big decrease, because they don't have many. They reduced for the illness, because the training all this is health exercise, so they can sort out so many illness. So point of that, I think is a great help. And also, the young children, the teenagers in this country, they in that age group, they can do anything they want. So if you don't give him the correct directions, then his future become dangerous. So in here, we do have many teenagers. The attitudes, whatever the character is so bad in the beginning. When they come here to learn martial arts, I saw the character slowly I change the character. Then before they're doing smoking and go outside to smart people cars, stealing things with some together, become smaller gangster group to doing the horrible things. After I heard about that, and I slowly, tell them, you learn martial arts, you need to have ambition, you know your future, what to do. If you're doing that, how to, it's not to respect your parents, So you make parents worry and whatever, but they can't do anything, So then you just break their heart. So all these extra stories is I do change in here in a temple, and do change a lot of teenagers. They become, good person. Even now, I have a lot of parents come here to appreciate of that. Just they said it's not I said. They come here and say, yeah, thank you, the Shaolin Temple, thank you, Master. If you don't open center here, you don't teach him, he will go become, he'll finish. In the beginning, I don't think, Shaolin have that kind of power, And but they do have quite many parents come here to say that. Even the students come here and say that. I said, Shifu, I appreciate you changed my life, and whatever. So then after I believe Shaolin have that kind of power. It's quite amazing.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Okay, I think we'll finish there.
Okay.